Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. I'm here with another one of my stuff series. It's funny, this is the third video I filmed today. Also, if you recognize this sweater and shirt, that would be why. It was actually just dealing with art supplies and our stuff and how we relate to our stuff. And it's kind of funny. It didn't occur to me when I was making out my my plans of filming today that I'm just talking about stuff. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. But anyways, today we're going to talk about curated sets. And I've made some notes on my phone. I did try filming this, just kind of ad-libbing it, but I realized it was kind of a little all over the place. So I'm going to be looking at my phone and going through my list here so that I stay a little more coherent for you, which I'm sure that you'll appreciate. So over the past, I would say 5 years or so, I've seen a lot of curated sets coming out of the art and craft world. And a lot of these have come from craft companies that are kind of branching out into mixed media. So instead of offering like stamps and papers and die cuts and things like that, they're adding paints and pencils and markers and stuff like that, kind of new and exciting products that we love to get our hot little hands on because they're fun to use. It's like being a kid again, right? When we get out the markers and the crayons and we play. So we're going to talk about the pros and cons of these curated sets, what you might want to look for and what you might want to avoid. And of course, those could be two different things for two different people. So kind of know thyself as you shop and add to your stash. One of the first curated sets I could remember, and one I wanted, and one I actually have in the other room, I was really happy to find it, was the Julie Nutting Skin Tone colored pencil set from Prima. They were watercolor pencils, and I really liked it because they were all earth tones and they were all meant for doing hair and skin. And that was just wonderful because I had my Derwent watercolor pencils that I'd had since the 90s. And at that time, that might have been the only watercolor pencils I had. But I felt like I just needed some more earth tones, and that was just perfect. Oh, got that set, added it to the pencils I already had, and it was just mwah, perfection. I could do all the things I wanted to do. And then they started coming out with a bunch of other curated sets. Like this one is called Scenic Route. I think all of their pencil sets are discontinued now, but so this one had some peaches and pinks and like a green and like 5 blues and a black. It was just kind of a weird set. Full disclosure, I was sent all of their sets from a scrapbook store that I used to work with. And they were fun, but what I noticed between all the sets was there was a lot of duplicates. So that was kind of a bummer because you could have just got one set with like 60 colors. Instead, you've got a bunch of these other sets and you got a bunch of duplicates. So so that's one of the downsides. I'm going to go back to my list because I'm already going off topic here, I can tell. So let's talk about the pros. So I talked about the pros, that Julie Nutting skin tone set. It just expanded what I could do with my other watercolor sets. So that's a wonderful reason to buy a curated collection if it boosts what you already have. Another thing that boosts what I already have, like these pastel color pencils, they're all in muted pastel tones. So I can use those with any of my more vibrant sets of pencils and have a nice colors that I can blend out with. They expand what I have and make what I already have more useful. That's what you want. You want your products to not replace what you already have, but to expand what you already have and make them more useful. And I can't say what will do that for your stash. I can only say that what will do that for my stash. This set here by Van Gogh, this is all pinks and purples. So if you had a basic assortment of colors, having this would expand it. You'd have all these extra colors that you could add into what you already have. So for a lot of artists, I think that would probably be, you know, a nice benefit to getting one of those sets. They also tend to be pretty budget friendly. So if you're a beginner, if you're a crafter, if you've never really painted, you've never really used pencils, you've never really used paints before, it lets you kind of dabble in at a low price point. They're usually coordinated so all the colors work well together. Not really designed for mixing, more designed for like laying colors out next to each other. You can get a really pretty look with that without the guesswork of knowing color theory and knowing things like that. So that could be another really positive aspect. If you're a crafter and you just want to add some mixed media to a scrapbook page or a card, getting one of those collections from a designer you like that maybe matches a line of paper that you like, could just make it fun to kind of have a gateway into art media. It takes away the stress. It can also allow you to build a collection over time, and I love it when companies do this actually, as long as they're putting out good quality products, because especially when you can build a collection of decent quality art supplies a little bit at a time. Artix does that with their marker collections. You can get single color packs, or not single color, but color family packs. They have a couple of ways that like you could build your marker collection over like between 3 and 10 purchases, depending on how big of a pack you want to get at a time. And I think that's really smart because a lot of people don't have $100 to spend at one go. They might have like $20 or $40. And if you can buy something and then add to it without duplicating your colors, eventually you can have that nice set of product that you can use all together. So, for instance, Spectrum Noir was one of the first companies I saw do that. They came up with these pencils. They have 5 different tins of 24. If you collect them all, you've got all unique colors. Was it all 120 unique colors with no duplicates? I'm personally not, they're not my favorite color pencil. They're decent, they're not terrible. But like this was, is that the portrait? They call this the, no, they call this the Essentials set. So there's like a, this is probably the one you would start with because it's got a little bit of everything. And then if you like to do landscapes, if you like to do, you know, seascapes, if you like to do portraits, you could add to that collection what your needs are and, you know, what you want, or if you want all the colors, you can add to that collection one at a time until you've completed it. Now the downside, there's no open stock availability to these pencils, so if you ran out of one, then you'd have to go upgrade into like a Derwent or another brand like that sells open stock that has a similar type of pencil to what you're already using. So that's kind of a pro and a con. I like that you can build up your collection without duplicates slowly over time in a budget-friendly manner, but if you can't replace that color, if you use it up, then that's kind of a bummer. I think they do the same thing with their markers, and they do have refillable marker ink, which I like. The pencils are just kind of like an anomaly. Maybe they have open stock pencils by now, but I don't think the pencils ever took off. I really don't think they were the best ones out there, but I love the concept. I thought that was really kind of innovative, and they were the first ones that I knew that did that. Now let's see, do we have any pros left? And the last pro I would say is that you could try a small selection of colors without making a huge investment. So you could try out a line without committing hundreds of dollars. So let's say you were curious about, you know, Schmincke or Rembrandt or Lucas or any of those brands. You could buy a set of 12 for around $60. You could try it out, and then if you liked it, then you could add on to that. And if you didn't, then, you know, you've only spent that amount of money. In the case of the, you know, the brands like Prima, that's even less. So it's just kind of a fun way to try it. I do notice a lot of the big art brands like Rembrandt and I'm trying to think who else. Rembrandt has come out with a bunch of 12 color tins. Van Gogh, which is a student grade of Royal Talons, I believe. Van Gogh is a student grade of Rembrandt. They both have a bunch of curated sets you can try. So, you know, if you're not sure if you want to invest in a bunch, or maybe you want to start out with a set and then add tubes to fill in the gaps, you can do that. I think that's kind of fun. I notice a lot of companies are coming out with granulating paint colors. Schmincke is coming out with six tube granulating sets of different themes. They do get kind of repetitive after a while, so maybe you would buy the 6 color set that you like the most and then maybe add a tube here and there as they come open stock, you know, to give you a well-rounded collection. But buying every set might be a little too samey, I think, maybe. I mean, obviously, everyone has different opinions of what they want to use. Everyone has different patterns of what they actually do use. So what's right for me isn't necessarily right for you. So you do you. You get the supplies that are valuable to you, basically. I think that is the basic takeaway for all of my stuff series videos. Okay, so let's talk about the cons. I know I did touch on some of them. I should backtrack, make sure I did get, yep, I did go through all the pros. Oh, one of the pros, it's just kind of fun to let somebody else pick your colors and then just use them. You know, that's kind of fun. So that's our last pro, just the novelty of it. You know, it's like, oh, here's a bunch of random colors, make something with it. I think that's fun. I think it's fun to work with sets like that, just from the novel perspective of it, and just because you get in a rut after a while and you're always using the same palette, right? And that's how artists get their look, right? Because you use those same, you know, dozen colors, and it gives you that feel of a, you know, Lindsay painting or a so-and-so painting. So when somebody else picks the colors, it just automatically snaps you into a new creative phase, because you have to think about how you're going to make those colors work together. So it's just kind of novel and fun. So the cons, oftentimes these products, like for instance this one and this one, they get discontinued once the sales slow down. So that's something you see a lot with craft companies. They come out with a new product. It goes to the big box craft stores. It goes to all the online stores. It sells like hotcakes. Everyone's trying to get it. And then a month later, everyone's forgotten about it and they're on to the next thing. So it's kind of like fast fashion in that respect. I find a lot of craft supplies are very much like fast fashion. Stamps, dyes, papers. They're released at a very fast clip and they go out of style very quickly. As soon as something else comes up, people want that new thing and then the other thing is forgotten. So if you're patient and you like those types of collections, just wait until the fervor's gone and buy them on clearance when they're, you know, priced to move, because then they get discontinued and the prices get chopped and they're on to the next thing. So the downside is, if you like that, if you find a set you really like, you might not be able to find it again. The upside is you might be able to figure out who makes that product. Like, for instance, a lot of the Prima and the American Crafts paints are made by Mungio, so you could just buy a set of 48 Mungio paints and have all those colors again, you know, and refill that way. Prima does actually sell refills for their paints, so that's kind of nice, but a lot of companies don't. So once you've used it up, if you use it up, which I don't think happens too often, that's why they don't offer open stock, you've got to find a replacement in some other brand that might have different textures or different properties that you don't like as much. Generally though, I think if you're buying a tube of paint from a legacy brand, you're going to like it more than the craft brands, but it won't be the same. That's the bottom line there. You often can find those products a lot cheaper if you can figure out who makes them. I've noticed a lot of the craft companies use either Superior made paints, Mungio made paints, or Phoenix made paints. So if you can figure out who's making their paint, a lot of times you can buy a set of 48 or 72 or even 120 for the same price you would buy a set of 24 for. So that's something just to keep your eyes out for. Now it's not as fun because you don't have the cute little box with the cute little, you know, curated colors, but if you already have a lot of supplies, you can make your own little curated palettes and have just as much fun. So I encourage you to do that. Don't feel like you have to buy the latest and greatest of what's marketed to you when you may have the raw materials in your craft room to do, or your art studio, to do the exact same thing. With often these curated sets, you also don't get pigment information or light fastness information, which might not matter to you if you're working in a sketchbook or a coloring book, or you're making cards that aren't, you know, that don't need to hang on a wall for many years, so you're not worried about fading. It might not be important to you. But if you are maybe you're a younger artist who's trying to build their stash up on a budget, and you do make something that you can sell and you sell it, you don't want it to fade on somebody's wall in 6 months. You want it to have this test of time. So you probably would want to avoid those curated sets if you can't find pigment information and light fastness information. And oftentimes, I hate to say it, but the light fastness information that is provided on products that are not from the big brands are usually not ASTM tested, so they're just kind of guessing, or they're just going by what their factory tells them, and they're not actually giving you true, that you can count on information on how long these products will last before they fade. Another con is that you can easily spend more time collecting these products than you actually do using them, because it's fun to, collecting is a hobby in and of itself. It's fun to collect. No matter if you collect vases or postage stamps or Beanie Babies, whatever it is, it's fun to collect things. It's fun to find something new for your collection. And art supplies are no exception. But you could spend more time collecting these products than you actually do using them, and you might not feel so great about that. And then you might actually get overwhelmed when you sit down to paint something or draw something, because you have so many choices, you don't know where to begin. So that's definitely a negative. These sets are generally kind of snackable and designed to make you want more. So you buy that set of 12, it's not very expensive, and then another one comes out that will complement it. So you buy that one, and then another one comes out, so you buy that one, and then you don't want to have an incomplete collection, right? So you want to buy all of them. So it does kind of fuel the desire for more, I think, because they're cute and they're fun and they're cheap and they're easy to collect and they're good enough. You know, they're not the best paint in the world, but they're not the worst paint in the world. You know what I mean? They're just really easy to consume. And but who has, sometimes, I don't want to say who has the time, but it is harder to find the time to use these products much harder than it is to find the time to buy these products. It's easy to buy it, but it's hard to use it. And it's very easy to buy duplicate products from different companies. Like the paper fashion watercolors are the same, well, allegedly. For using them side by side, I would say they're the exact same paints as Prima, just in different color collections. So it's really easy to get duplicate colors if you're not aware of what paints are the same. And sometimes you might want this particular collection, but then 3 colors you have, or even 10 colors you have, can be found in other sets that you have if you really enjoy those little paint collections. So yeah, it can be fun. It can be very inspiring, but just make sure that you are using these things as a tool and you're not getting kind of sucked into the marketing buying fervor of it all. And obviously, I'm going to say you do what you want to do. If it brings you joy to have a collection of those palettes on your shelf, when I did my big KonMari declutter, I did not get rid of a single. I got rid of 1 watercolor palette, let me tell you. And it was a palette that I liked, but I thought, I have all these others. I'm never going to get to using this. And I gave it to a friend of the daycare. And the palette only cost $5. And I missed it and I rebought it. So my watercolor palette sparked joy. I have more than anyone needs, so you know, I'm not judging you. If you like to collect watercolor palettes, I'm not judging you. I like to collect watercolor palettes and colored pencils. And but I don't collect china. I don't collect vases. I don't collect, you know, I collect rubber stamps. Not poster stamps, rubber stamps. I enjoy looking at them. I enjoy having them. I enjoy using them. Same thing with the paints and pencils. So I'm not going to judge you. You do whatever you want to do. But I don't want you to get in the situation of buying and then discarding and buying and discarding and buying and discarding, because I just think that it could make you never be happy. But then again, I don't want you hoarding it either if you're not happy with it. I don't know what to tell you. Just know yourself. I don't really have any advice. What am I doing making videos? I have no idea. But I just wanted to go over the pros and cons. And over time, probably this is the biggest factor here is that over time, if you're buying a lot of these less expensive sets, you could have just purchased one really nice high quality set from like a legacy art company like Derwent or Caran d'Ache or Winsor & Newton or Rembrandt, or insert your favorite art company here. You could buy a really high quality set of whatever it is the product you're looking for, whether it's colored pencils or watercolors or pastels, and be much happier with that one set, have much less overwhelm and much less guilt because you haven't collected so much. In the long run, generally your legacy art products are a better value because they're so slow wearing, and if you do use up a color, you can buy a tube of that color, or you can buy one single pencil. And yes, it's more than the per color price in, you know, a set. It's going to be higher quality and you're going to get much more joy and better results for it. But I also understand that you're probably not going to start off buying a set of high-end anything if you're not sure if you like the product at all, and it might not even meet your needs. If you're a card maker and you just want to color on a card here or there, or you're working in a coloring book and you want a soft pencil with lots of color, well, yeah, you can do that with many different brands that are not going to break the bank, and having that super duper light fast high-end pencil isn't going to give you any better results for what you're doing. You know, I understand that too. So I guess it comes down to finding the product that's best for you. But just if you do decide to invest in a product, use it. You know, really give it a go and see what you can get from it, because the constant churn can't last. That's something that I've just noticed so much, is this constant churn of supplies. And I'm guilty of it. I've been guilty of it. Most people I know are guilty of it. And it is kind of fun to collect, but I just want to make sure that you're getting the use out of the things you spent your hard-earned money on. Because that's where the joy is. The joy isn't, well, I mean, there's a little bit of joy looking at them on the shelf, I gotta say. Owning the supplies does bring a little bit of joy, but the real joy comes from using them and knowing that you got your money's worth. So let me know in the comments below, do you like curated collections? Do you enjoy getting those, you know, 6-packs of kind of fashion colors or unique colors and using them? Or do you prefer to have a basic set of colors you can mix anything from? Or do you like a little bit of both? You know, it's fun. It's kind of like junk food. I think some of the curated collections are kind of like a candy bar. It's fun. It's fun to get it, to use it, to play around with it. It's not going to, you know, it's not going to last as long as a healthy meal. It's not going to last as long as, you know, you know, a legacy art brand product will. It's probably not going to keep your attention for as long, but it's kind of fun and it might get you out of a creative rut. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I know these videos are kind of strange. They're just some musings, I guess, some things I've been thinking about and I thought might make an interesting little video. So thank you for going on this little mind journey with me on our supplies and our stuff, and thinking about our stuff, because I like to use art supplies, I like to collect art supplies, and I like to think about art supplies and contemplate the place that they hold in our lives. And I hope you do too. And I just want you to know that I am not on a high horse here telling you what to do, because I'm looking at a shelf of watercolors right now, and I certainly have no judgment on whatever your situation is. That would be pretty hypocritical if I did. I do not. I just want you to create and enjoy your creative lives and feel good about the supplies that you own and that you use. So I hope you do. I want you to do that right now. That's only one thing I want you to do from this video, is to feel good about the supplies that you use and use them without guilt. Because, you know, shame does not make your art better. Let me tell you that, friends. Feel good about your supplies and use them. And enjoy them, because you bought and paid for them. You deserve to enjoy them. And that goes to those precious supplies, too, that are sitting on your shelf unopened because you're just saving them for when you're good. You're good enough now to open them up and use them. So please do. You know, it's yours. You bought them. You deserve to use them. That's all I have for today. I think I need to take a nap. I think I need to get some new material. I don't know. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye.